Please give a big warm welcome to Michael and Corinne.
Hi, thanks for joining us here today. Oh, this is going to be fun.
Oh, we're going to have a ball. We're talking about Speed Racer, which I did so long ago, and it was such fun, and I remember it very vividly.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, we get to talk about that tonight. If you have questions, we'll field all those. I feel like everyone should probably already know about Corinne's work, but in addition to Speed Racer, there's a huge body of work that goes well beyond voice acting or even in animation. Radio and stage and TV and film. So I'm actually curious about that as well. Also, I just learned that she came up with some other pretty famous dudes. Shatner,
Chris Plummer,
Robert Guillaume.
No. I knew Bob Goulet very well.
Oh, Goulet.
Oh, my God. I'm Canadian. And should I tell you how I got into all this?
I'd love to.
Yes. Well, I came from a little French town called St. Hyacinth. And it was 30 miles from Montreal, and then we moved to the big city. So everybody was laughing at me because I had a horrible French accent. So my mother felt sorry, and she gave me elocution lessons. And I got hooked on children's theater. I had a lot of fun. I played Alice in Wonderland, and I played the Dormouse, which was probably my weirdest first weird voice. And I did a lot of kids' theater, then I did radio with, I told you, Bill Shatner. I was like 14. He was not much older, but he seemed like much more sophisticated.
I wonder that.
Yeah, and he was darling to me. He used to take me to lunch when we did a radio show all the time. So we had a good time.
That's awesome. So when you say you had a horrible French accent, do you mean it was bad for French, or you sounded that you had a French accent?
No, it was bad for English.
Right.
Things like that, what do I know? Now I'm scared to even speak French because, my accent's good, my vocabulary is moronic.
I had moved from England, actually, so I had a ridiculous British accent when I came to America, and I got picked on.
Oh, well, we both have troubles.
Cheers to that. So then, let's see. So then, what got you started doing animation VO?
Oh, I came to New York and I didn't know anybody. And someone said, go to Tetra, they dub foreign movies. So I went, and I was the only one who could do kids. So I turned out to be the resident kid. I could do boys, girls, animals. and I guess I was sort of discovered there in the States, and then I started doing all these kids, and then they were looking for anime people, and I got into them. It was on 1600 Broadway. I do believe it's now a condo.
Everything is now a condo.
Everything. Even I'm a condo.
Or NYU doors.
But at that time, it was a film building, and occasional famous movie stars would appear. And
Like Corinne Orr.
No, I've got a blank on a few of them, but they would show up. Woody Allen in the elevator, he had screaming red hair at the time, and he had always 5-6 girls with him who looked like hookers. And they were pretty dumb looking. But since then, he's moved on. Okay.
Just smart looking. Never mind.
Yes.
That's funny. I want to thank you actually for all that work. Because of the success of the work that you did,
yes.
Because you did it so well, there's now a whole industry. Even walking into this Barnes & Noble, I see tons of toys for anime series.
I love them. I love toys and things. Hey, can I show you something?
Please show me something.
My Speed Racer hat. I've had it for years sitting in the closet. And I now have a Speed Racer hat.
How much
try it on?
Oh, can I, man?
Oh, yes.
All right, my head is enormous. I might have to slide.
I noticed that. Poor Michael.
I have a really big head. Oh, this is great, though.
Oh, wow, Michael.
Yeah, is it
pretty good?
I can't.
We can go out race driving after, too.
Do you want to race? I want to race. You can do bumper cars, or look at that. This is nicely embroidered. I bet this could fetch $top on eBay. You can take a picture of that. All right, that's beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Can I wear that dinner? A gentleman never wears a hat indoors. I'm sorry. So now we have this whole industry. I mean, I would say that the work that you guys did is.
We made peanuts. We made peanuts, not like today.
We make peanuts still.
But we had a ball, and there were 4 in the cast, and we all liked each other so very much. I think that's kind of a blessing, to have people you love to work with. And do you want to know about that?
I would love to know about that. Now, how long did the whole production run?
I think a year. I think just a year, because we did like 50 episodes every week. We'd be doing it at 1600 Broadway, which is 49th and Broadway. Peter was a strict director, and I like fooling around, and we couldn't fool around. He was very strict, said behave yourself and do your act, and he was good. I'm very proud of the performances because he wouldn't let us get away with anything. We had good diction there. Like I said, let's go to, there's not to, let's go to the. We had perfect diction. And he would watch every second. And then there was Jack Grimes, who I adored, Sparky. And he was so much fun. Little Jackie Grimes, he was short. He had been on All in the Family and all kinds of really well-known shows. And one day we were doing a convention in LA, the Auto Show, which is on right now. And this guy came up and he said, "You sound just like my dog." So Jack said, without missing a beat, "Good, get him an agent and a SAG card and see how he does." I mean, he was witty. And we had Jack Curtis, who was so excruciatingly handsome, but he had a withered hand, like the fingers had never developed, and he was very self-conscious and kept it in his pocket all the time. But his mind was so alert and fast, he only talked in non sequiturs, and I'm one of the few people who could totally follow him, because I'm insane, But he was very bright. He died so young. Not fair. And can I tell you what he used to do?
What did he used to do?
He'd go into this restaurant and ordered, I said, the waitress said, "What do you want?" He said, "I want a peanut butter and shrimp sandwich." I said, "What?"
Is he pregnant?
So he had it. Then the next day he said, "I want a peanut butter and shrimp sandwich." Day 3, she brings him a peanut butter and shrimp. He said, "What kind of crappy sandwich is this? No one in their right mind would order this." So, I mean, he was crazy.
Playing the wrong con.
Yeah, but he was always doing things like that. We laughed and laughed. It was fun. And when we dubbed, this is a great moment in my life, don't ask me why. It was a feature film, and we had to fit the mouth, not technically, it's easier today with machines, I don't know what they do, but we had to fit mais pourquoi. That was called labials, when your mouth shut together. So we got my, but, why, mais pourquoi. You got it?
Yes.
So he had some German word, and he said, "I need a word with several P's." And I said, "Preposterous." And it worked. And I'm so proud of that, too.
Oh, you could have been a writer as well.
Hardly. But anyway, I did get one. That was nice. And so we all had fun. Oh, and I got to tell you, one day, Lara, I think we had a guest star, and he came in and he had a sip of coffee at the mic. I thought, oh, that's so sophisticated. So I had a sip of coffee at the mic and spilled it all over the script. Mess, complete and utter mess. And one day I decided to be generous. It was very hot. And I bought everybody ice cream cones. Well,
how'd you carry them?
It doesn't matter. They all melted all over me, and I turned into an ice cream cone.
Oh, that's really sweet, though.
Yeah. It was disgusting.
We did that. There are a few people who bring cupcakes or cookies to sessions. It's really sweet. It's always nice when they do.
Thank you.
It's a simple little thing, but it matters. And so you talked about the technical aspect a little bit. I'm really curious about that because today, one of the things that computers allow is undo. You can turn back time and not have done the thing you did. What I understood about dubbing at the time was, recording to MAG, you basically have one track that's physical, not virtual computer blah blah, that you can record to. So when you record any take, the director and the actor have to decide, do we want to do it again and lose what we did, or keep what we have because it kind of worked? So today we could do 1,000 takes and then pick the best one or comp them all together. But back then you had to really stand behind each performance and lose what you took.
Yeah, the animation was big breaths, and then they blah, 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 blah. So we're always out of breath, and we take a big breath and then we say our words fast, 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 fast to fit into the space. You had to fit it into the space. Technically, I'm not very bright, so I can't tell you much more. But I do know it's much easier today. And the other thing, we worked all together. We used to have a lot of fun. Now they do split.
You recorded in the same room?
Yeah, we were all together. It was a delight.
How long was it take? How many lines would you do?
We'd work about 8 hours. We do 2 lines at a time. We didn't do a lot. You had to, because you had to watch it on the screen that fit the labia, when the mouth shut. So we worked 8-hour days.
That's really interesting. And so you talked about everyone else in the cast, but what about Peter?
Peter was he was very clever. He wrote such funny names for the villains. Lightfinger's Klepto, Dr. Decrepit, Inspector Detector. And the names we just fall apart laughing. They were so much fun. And we had a good time. But he didn't let us joke around. Work, 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 We had to work. But he was easy. Once he did it right, he was very pleasant. He was never mean or anything.
One of the reasons I was asked to do this was because I got to work with Peter a few times, actually. He came into my studio, and I got to direct him, which was amazing. Not that I had to do much. And we got to do the new Speed Racer together. He was amazing. I remember not even knowing he was going to be on the new Speed Racer until I got to a table read, and at the end of the table I see Peter Fernandez. And I'm like,
He's a good actor. He was a really good actor. He had done Broadway and film and everything.
And to think, he started off as a model, right?
Yeah, he was cute. He was a cute kid. And he started as a child. But he had even features and he was good looking. So, yeah.
And he was a great actor, director, and writer. And
a good writer.
And he wrote a song, didn't he?
Yeah, he wrote the Speed Racer song. The lyrics, not the music. Yeah, he did.
I thought he played all the violins? No.
No, he didn't.
So your background is actually in theater and in...
Yeah.
So I think that... So my background is in theater also. And while there are basics for theater and for acting, I think that sometimes when you go into a different medium, the technology dictates a different way of working.
Definitely.
So I'm wondering what your experience was transitioning into voiceover for animation, or...
I don't know. You just did it. You just do it, You want your paycheck. That's your motivation. You want to make sure you're gonna eat that week or something.
So with the technical constraints of having to lip sync everything, that there was no other. It wasn't hard for you at all. Just some people get it, some people don't.
It was extremely hard to learn at the beginning. It was not easy for me. And Peter was quite kind to me. He had it was called a moviola, that probably an antique.
Oh, we have one at my studio.
I'm impressed. Anyway, he made me watch over and over and look at the mouth.
So that's on film, by the way. There's no rolling tape back and forth. It's film. You're watching a film reel back and forth.
Yeah, and that's how I learned.
Wow.
I was terrified at the beginning, but then I got relaxed and got into the character. It was a lot of fun. So that's all.
That's amazing. Well, then we should probably open up to questions, right?
Yes.
Hi, my name is Adam. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, Adam.
Just to learn about the cultural difference, with the Japanese counterparts, when you were introduced to your work,
Yeah.
did you have to learn about who played Trixie, in Japan?
No, but they did weird things in animation. This is kind of gross. One of the people would be sleeping and stuff would come out of his nose, and they had to edit it out.
Okay.
And we used to die laughing. They did a lot of things that were just a little gross, but nothing horrible,
Interesting.
Yeah, so...
I sometimes drool when I sleep.
Oh, you're so bad. You're so bad.
Yes, you mentioned Titra Studios.
Now, they did a dubbing of a lot of Italian movies and Japanese live-action movies, monster movies with Italian Hercules-type movies and things.
Right.
Did you work on any of those films?
Yes.
And you have any memories of what that was like?
Yes.
Next question.
No, we had so much fun because we're all together. They didn't split us apart as they do now. And I remember there's some murder scene or something, and a guy dropped down dead, and we ran over. I mean, the people in the film ran over to him, and he went like this, and the guy yelled out, "You got bad Beal." Because he lifted up his arm. And once we were doing a scene, and the guy from the local deli came in, and he said, whatever, Clark's Deli. But, well, first the line in the film was, "Who's there?" And he said, "Clark's Deli." And we fell apart laughing. It took us a while to. And when we had to do crowd scenes, we said rhubarb garbage. Rhubarb garbage was a guttural sound that made it sound like crowds. So we'd be looking at him, rhubarb garbage, garbage, rhubarb garbage, whoa, rhubarb garbage. And that was it.
Let's all do, I want to try it to see what it sounds like. If we all say rhubarb garbage, to see what it sounds like as walla. All right. On your marks, get set, go.
It's wonderful.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of conversations, but you can't lock onto it, so it's not distracting. It's
Yeah.
sort of like, welcome back up to English, remember. Yeah, that's great. I heard rhubarb, but the garbage really puts it over the top.
Oh, now you know.
Yeah, I'm
Yes.
just limited to rhubarb. It's like half of the trick.
I'm so admiring of all of your talents and that you can go from one field to another field and with your wonderful voice. And I just can't imagine, how did you learn to do children's voices? How do you do it?
Well, you have to have a range. I never thought of it. I just did it. But I happen to love kids. And I used to listen to their voices. I listened to everybody's voices in elevators and, all those places, and I would steal their voice. But I really think if you want to succeed, you should take acting lessons. I think it's important.
I think so too. I think it's not about doing voices. It's about telling stories, being a real person. Otherwise, it's not compelling. And then for me, Speed Racer was really compelling because you're having real conversations together. And it's not just, I'm speaking now because I have to speak. I'm telling you the thing that's about the information. I'm acting angry. I'm acting sad. You can't just play results. You have to have a story and a full character. Otherwise,
It was really, we cared for each other and you had to connect. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Yes.
So have you watched all of Speed Racer? Were you a fan of the show?
I loved it.
So you've seen all the episodes?
Yes, I loved it. And I sit there gripped by it. I think it was a fabulous show. And
cliffhangers.
Yes, and if I watched it today, I'd feel the same way. We really believed in it. We really, really did.
So when you're watching it, do you realize that it's you?
Oh, yeah.
Because I mean, some actors get lost into it, and it's like, oh, yeah, I don't even know.
I knew. I knew it was me. And I'm very proud of the work. I really am. And I thank Peter for that, too, because he helped direct it.
And was that your first dub?
No.
Okay.
No, I did some rotten kid in a long movie. And then I did the voice of Claudia Cardinale once, and all kinds of strange voices. So you have to give accent. And I learned vague accents. I'm sure they're all lousy. But, oh, hi there.
Did you get the Marine Boy voice because of Speed Racer?
Yes. I think... I'm not sure. I think I did Marine Boy first. That was so lucky for me. May I tell him about my...
Please.
I did Marine Boy, 30 years ago or 130 years ago? I don't remember. And one day, where's my agent? Matt. He called me, and Samsung was doing a watch commercial. I made $5,000 on the whole show. It's very important. And the watch that Samsung wanted to do was underwater. And Marine Boy chewed oxygum and he could breathe underwater, which is something I would not recommend. So all he had to do was that. And they asked if I would permit them to use, that shot. And my agent said, yes. He got me $30,000. Yeah. And I booked the Queen Mary first class. Had the time of my life. It was one of those really magical things, and I just am so grateful to Marine Boy. And then I did speed, yeah.
Wow.
And then I got to meet Michael.
Yes, the pinnacle of questions.
Your work is in animation, but someone asked before that you did monster movies and stuff. One of the monster shows that I remember was Ultraman. And you
Oh, yes. I'm just saying, I did, my favorite line in Ultraman was, I was a little kid on the mother. And I want a spaghetti sandwich, which I think is ridiculous. We had the worst sets on earth, and as they leaned against the sets, which were made of cardboard, some of them collapsed. We did Ultraman monsters. I think this was, oh God, I can't remember the name of the monster. Anyway, it doesn't matter. The Japanese didn't have a very big budget. So they had these gorgeous costumes, but they couldn't afford the shoes. So they would flash down and they would be barefoot or wearing ordinary shoes. And then the monsters would, and the sets would collapse. Mothra! He was the monster. Oh, was that fun. We killed ourselves laughing doing this. It was a lot of fun, yeah.
Does Mothra need shoes? He's got wings. Yeah. I guess he's got to land at some point.
It's very complicated when you're a monster.
Yeah, I suppose monsters need comfort and support as well.
Yeah.
And didn't you also work on Star Blazers?
Oh, yeah. Oh, I played this girl who was always dressed in overalls. And I said, is she a girl or a boy? And Peter would always answer me, yes. I didn't know what I was doing. I played love scenes with myself. I didn't know who I was, girl, boy. And once it was a panda. This is one of my favorite cartoons, Vanished. I don't know. It was a panda bear. There was a girl panda and a boy panda. And the only way you could tell them apart is the girl had a pink ribbon. But the microphone shadow would obliterate the ribbon. So my line was, is it a girl or is it a boy? And my answer was, yes.
This isn't the crowd for it, I don't think, but didn't you do radio drama as well, Corinne?
Yes. I started in Montreal doing Laura Limited. And Bill Shatner was so nice to me. We'd meet, I'm sure it doesn't exist anymore. He'd buy me lunch every time we did the show, and then we'd go do the show. And I was terrified of the director. Rupert Kaplan was very renowned, and he was very stern. And I was terrified, but I did my best. And sometimes I'd wiggle, and he'd say, stop wiggling. So I couldn't wiggle. But we had a good time, and Bill was really nice to me. And our mothers were friends. This was in Montreal. So we worked at the Mountain Playhouse doing theater. It's amazing. 100 years ago, it seems so strange. But I think the more you do, I think one of the most important things in acting is timing. If you have a 60-second commercial, you have to bring it in 60 seconds. You can't do a minute and a half.
Especially then. Now, I mean, you still have to, but they have time compression, expansion algorithms that can help you along. But then, you have to really, really nail it. And I think coming from theater is really...
you learn how to condense or how to stretch. And the radio dramas were great fun, because again, the interaction between them. And I worked with Craig on, what was called?
Friends of Old Time Radio.
Friends of Old Time Radio. I think I did that for 13 years, and Craig was very instrumental there. And I met Celeste Holm, who was so sweet, and she had the most loving husband, who was like 30 years younger, and he just worshipped her. You could just see every time she walked in, he loved her. And I met Bing Crosby's wife, Kathy, who was very strange. And, yes. She had so many facelifts that she looked like, she didn't look human. Maybe she was a robot.
Way ahead of her time.
Yeah.
A fembot.
And Betty Furness, who's the sweetest woman on earth, and Chuck McCann, Remember Crazy Chuck McCann? Oh, God.
I do.
Oh, we laughed. Working with him, you just fell apart laughing over and over. He was so much fun. He was crazy. I loved him. So we had good times. I think I was fortunate. Didn't have any money, but I had a lot of fun. That's something, isn't it?
That's what it's all about. It's not money that makes the world go round, or is it? No, love. Wait.
You figure it out.
When you love what you do, you never work a day in your life.
What?
No, that's my mom was a performer. She was a singer as well, an opera singer, and I think I learned a lot about the way the industry used to be from her.
Yes.
And it's interesting to hear you talk about having to articulate properly.
Oh, God, it was wonderful. Everyone had a beautiful voice and good diction. Now I turn on the radio and cringe. I cringe. Horrible noises come out. Like the things I used to do characters for. They're all there. You don't have to look for them or hear them. They're there. So...
And also, the thing that strikes me rewatching Speed Racer is how incredibly fast you guys talked.
Yeah.
There's a lot of quick flaps, and Peter wrote it to be like a labial per mouth opening. And
it's the flaps. We have to fit the flaps. So we go, hello, nice to see you. Are you coming over? What? Yeah, it was not a way.
It seems like a real challenge. But also you're having good conversations. But with the technical constraints of talking so fast, only getting a take or then losing the take to do a new take, it blows my mind.
What was your favorite part of playing Sprite on Trixie?
I just enjoyed every episode. They were so crazy. And I hate to tell you, but I eat a lot of candy. And all my friends are very familiar with that. But I think Peter wrote half of it about Spritle eating candy because of me.
All right.
Yes.
Art imitates life.
But no, we had good times. And as I said, we all liked each other so very much. It was great.
Oh, one more question?
Yeah, is there any... You've been doing a lot of voice dubbing and voice directing yourself, and you act and know people, and work with people like Corinne and Peter Fernandez, so you have some sense of the history of voice dubbing over the last 50 years for Japanese animation in these countries. Anyone chronicling, interviewing people and sort of doing like a history of it to sort of, either for a website or a book or something like that? Or
Interesting. I hadn't thought of that. Actually, being here tonight gives me a different context of sort of the importance of it. I'm sure while you were doing it, you were like, great job, love the people, but it was actually important, and it led to, because of its success, because honestly in entertainment, something has to be commercially viable and make money, otherwise it's not going to keep going on.
Right.
And anime has taken off. There are many companies now bringing it to the States. Like I said, when you walk in the store, you're greeted by Dragon Ball Z and Sailor Moon. Yeah, well, I think the history is interesting, and actually, I'm really struck by you guys getting to group record, which is traditionally more the way they do it in Japan. I've been to some sessions in Japan.
Really?
And they will do, for, let's say, a 22-minute show, which ends up being a 30 with commercials. The way they do it in Japan, they'll have the first half, 11 minutes, and then they'll go to the single commercial break, then they'll do the second 11 minutes. But they'll do it as a radio play almost, all together with the entire cast in the room. They have these beautifully bound scripts that they don't make any noise when you turn the page. They do it not by time code, but by shot number. So every time the angle changes, it's a new shot. Shot 1, shot 2, shot 3, and those are marked in the script. So they very quietly step over everyone's tee, go up to the microphone, and dub it against the screen.
That's amazing.
And they'll do like 3 passes of the first part, 3 passes of the second part. They'll go back in for pickups and this and that. If there's a walla where the entire village has to get up there and yell rutabaga garbage, then the entire cast gets up and does it. But now that we're doing things individually, it's less the way they do it there. And I think there's just no substitute for getting to group record.
Oh, it was better. It was much better. That's why radio was so much fun. Because you really connected to, and you made eye contact. And it's a lot more fun, that's all. So we got a lot of people in the business and people wanting to be in the business, and it's a delight. It's a wonderful thing to, privilege to have experienced all that. And I thank you, Michael.
And thank you for all the work that you've done that's both entertained and charmed us, and also paved the road for an industry that gave me a job. So thank you.
I thank you all so much for coming. It's just been a thrill.